Welcome to today's class where we're going to be looking at 5 poses that are really great for helping you achieve your front splits. So grab your blocks and I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, let's place our blocks at the top of the mat. We might not need them for this first pose, but it's always handy to have them. If you don't have blocks, you can always just hold onto a wall, or if you can reach, you can grab hold of the floor or anything that's going to bring you up a little bit higher, so maybe books or something like that. Let's come to a mountain pose, so feet hips distance apart, slight bend of the knees, roll the shoulders back. Okay, so let's step back a couple of feet with the left foot. Toes are going to point a little bit diagonally out to the side. Make sure there's enough space in between your feet here for your hips to face front. Okay, so if it feels really uncomfortable, you might need to widen your stance. So just notice what feels good for you. Hands on your hips. Take a big inhale, open the chest. Exhale, fold forward with length in your spine. Make sure again that your hips are facing towards the front of your mat. When you can get no further, you can start to round down. Now you can place your hands on your leg here, but don't put too much pressure on it. Okay, so I'm literally just using it to balance, but this is why we have the blocks. You can place your hands on the blocks and relax down here. Now completely release the head. Look back towards the knees. Loosen the right kneecap. We have a tendency to kind of lock the knees, so try not to lock the knees out. And you should feel a nice stretch down the back of the right leg here. Let the head get heavy. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Really long inhales and long exhales. Maybe you notice every exhale you get a tiny bit deeper. And then let's slowly bend into the right knee, come back up to standing. Okay, we're going to switch sides. So step the left foot forward, right foot back a couple feet, slightly pointing out diagonally, hips facing the front of your mat, hands on the hips. Open the chest first, look up slightly, exhale, fold forward with length in the spine. When you can get no further, release down. Maybe grab hold of your blocks, maybe your leg, maybe the floor. And relax here. Loosen the kneecaps. Let your head get heavy, so maybe you look back towards your knees. Maybe shake your head yes and no as well. Just make sure it is relaxed. A couple of deep breaths here. Last one. Slowly bend into that left leg. Come back up to standing. Okay, we're going to make our way downwards now. So let's inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Just take a little bit of sun sail to get down. Exhale, fold forward, plant the fingertips. Take the left leg all the way back, lower the knee. So coming into our low lunge. Again, you can use your blocks here. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle of the right foot. So if it's further back and your knee's coming forward, just wiggle that front foot forward until it's underneath your knee. Use your blocks and sink into the hips here. Again, make sure that your hips are facing the front of your mat. So maybe you consciously pull the left hip forward and the right hip back. And sink into those hips here. Again, just a few long inhales and exhales. Really sink into those hips. Notice where you're feeling this stretch. It could be different for everybody. Okay, we're going to do a few stretches on this side before going to the other side. So let's walk our blocks back, or your hands back, and start to straighten that right leg, toes point up to the ceiling. Loosen that right kneecap again. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold forward, but try to keep the length in your spine. So we're not bringing our head to our knee here. Try to get your belly to your thigh. Look towards your big toes. You're going to feel a much deeper stretch doing it this way than rounding. So imagine you're trying to touch your belly button to your thighs. Couple breaths here. Okay, let's re-bend back into that right knee. Move the blocks ahead of you, just so you can grab those in a bit. Now, we might want something for the back knee here. So if you do have a blanket or a pillow around, then grab that. If not, you might want to double up your yoga mat for your knee, just so it's a little bit more cushioned. Come into your low lunge. Left hand's going to come down on the ground. We're going to inhale, the right hand up towards the sky. Now you can either stay here, sink into those hips and feel a nice stretch down the left quad muscle. If you're not feeling very much, you're gonna lift up your left foot, see if you can grab it, and then bring that heel towards your bum. You're gonna feel an even deeper stretch here. Now I'm just gonna turn to face you so you can see exactly what's happening with my right leg. As I twist around here, my knee also comes out a little bit towards the side. I'm still sinking my hips down and still pulling that left heel to my left glute. Maybe even come onto the outer edge of your right foot and just feeling that stretch there. So a couple breaths here. Nice deep quad stretch. And then slowly release that. Okay, stay in your low lunge. I'm just going to swivel back around. Bring your blocks back in. I'm just going to unroll my mat. It's up to you if you want to keep yours folded or not. We're going to come to our splits on this side. So let's shuffle that right foot out as far forward as we can. Just wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. Doesn't matter if the knee's still bent. Point the toes upwards, straighten that right leg. Tuck your left toes, bring that left knee as far back as it will go today, and every day could be different here depending on how tight you are. Walk your blocks back because you want to be upright while you hold the splits here. You can always hold onto a wall if you don't have blocks, but try to keep your body upright, because if you imagine here, just take you a couple of breaths while I'm explaining this. If you're leaning forward, you're going to be getting a bigger stretch down the hamstring here, less down the quad. If you bring your body upright, what's happening here, my torso is getting further away from my quad, then you start to get the quad stretch as well. Okay, and we want the hamstring and the quad stretch for this. So we still want our back leg going back eventually. So hold it here. Every exhale, try to relax into it a little bit more. Let gravity kind of pull you down. If you are low enough, you can always use the blocks to prop your bum up and take some of the pressure off. As long as you're feeling a little bit of a stretch, that's fine. Feel a stretch and then relax into it. If you're not feeling anything, then obviously remove the block. So ideally, you'd want to take at least 5 deep breaths in each of these poses. So let's walk the blocks forward just so we can come out of this. Slight bend in that front leg, tuck the back toes, bring that back knee in so that you can bring your front knee back. Sit back onto your heels a minute, maybe just rock side to side, move your hips side to side. Release that out slightly. Okay, other side. Left leg's gonna step up forward. Let's come first to our low lunge. Knee over the ankle. Make sure your hips are facing the front. You might find a tiny bit of resistance because we've just stretched the opposite way, right? So give it a couple breaths here to get settled. And relax here as much as you can in your low lunge. Sink those hips down. Remember as well, if it starts to feel too much, if your breathing quickens, if it starts to feel a bit tense, loosen out of it slightly. So we want the body to be able to relax here. Okay, let's slowly walk the hands or the blocks back, start to straighten that left leg, toes point up to the ceiling. And again here, we're trying to relax the belly button down towards the thighs. We're not rounding, we're looking towards the toes and getting that belly button down. Every exhale, just let gravity pull you down. Last breath here. Let's rebend into that left leg. Blocks come out ahead of you. Right hand down to the ground. Left hand reaches up. Sink into those hips. Maybe that's enough. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bend the back knee, reach around and grab it. Maybe you double up your mat or grab a pillow or a blanket for underneath your knee here. Maybe your left knee comes out a little bit to the side. All we're doing is we're trying to find that quad stretch, okay? So do whatever you can to feel that right quad stretch. Sink lower. Couple breaths here. And then releasing out of that, let's come back to our low lunge. Grab your blocks and we're going to come into the splits on this side. So wiggle down into your low lunge, get those hips as low as possible. And then let's start to edge that left foot forward as much as you can. Doesn't matter if the knee's slightly bent still. From here, then pick your left toes up, straighten the left leg, tuck your right toes. Bring your right knee as far back as possible. Again, this is going to change day to day. Move your blocks back. Rest your hands on your blocks. Come into an upright position and let's hold here for a couple of breaths. Now remember here, try to keep your hips parallel to the front of your mat. So maybe that means you actively pull your right hip forward and your left hip back. Try to loosen the shoulders away from the ears. And relax as much as you can here. Let your hips sink into the ground. Let gravity pull you down. Long inhales and long exhales. Okay, when you're ready, move the blocks forward so that you can place most of your weight in there. Bend that front knee, bring that back knee in, and let's just shake out the hips. Okay, so repeating those 5 stretches every single day. is going to majorly improve your splits. So try this, let me know how you get on. I'd love to know, so leave a comment down below. If you would like a little bit more on the splits, then check out my 25-day program in the description below. Nice and quick, and we go a lot deeper than just these 5 stretches. So go and check that out if you really want to get deeper into your front splits, and I'll see you next time.